I'm Leslie Drollinger Stratmoen, the owner of Flappers to Fringe Vintage. I started doing shows and I was always picking up different costume, clothing, things that I would use in a show. Through the years, amazingly enough, I kept a lot of that stuff. There was a really neat little antique shop where they had really cool things, and I would pick up jewelry and then maybe a hat here and there. It was the 1970s, so we were adding things like 1950s beaded sweaters to our outfits. Always been a collector of jewelry forever. I mean, I always was the jewelry queen, you know. It just grew from there. I just kept buying things because I liked them, or sometimes I'd see something like a fabulous hat in a funny little store and I thought, I need to save this. I need to take this hat home with me and save it. People would realize what I was doing, and when they would clean out their mother's estate or something like that, they would have wonderful things and just hand it off to me. Give it to me. At that time I was doing a lot of shows, and so they thought I would probably use it as a show. Many of the things I never did because they were so fragile. Some of the things even back, this would have been in the 1980s and 90s. Back then, the 20s pieces were so fragile. I did wear the beautiful 1920s blue rhinestone and beaded gown when I played Vera in Maine. What?
Sing a bit of Vera.
Oh gosh.
Sing a line of Vera. Say a line of Vera.
I don't even remember a line of Vera. And she had it was horrible because I was supposed to sing, she had the voice of a frog. Anyway, I suppose it's been in the last 15 years where I actively really decided that this is a collection, a whole exhibit, which at that time, of the clothing and accessories and all those different things, the way women wore things through the years. And I saw a symmetry between how women behaved and how people, places, and events affected what we wore. And there was a symmetry between the 1920s and the 1970s. And so that's where I came about with Flappers to Fringe. The plan for the exhibit right now is deciding with my, of all the different things I have in my costume closet, deciding what pieces represent the story I want to tell, which is the story of the silhouette, and the silhouette of the dresses, the pants. My husband and I rounded up around the country old wardrobe steamer trunks. So this one has it's not cloth, it's more of a vinyl cover. And then you pop that over. My husband Mark, amazing as he is, crafted these specially designed hangers for this one, and the drawers. Really unusual because it's built to fit into the corners. So back in the day when people would travel and they didn't have, there weren't closets in rooms. So it's supposed to be your traveling closet. So you got there and it didn't take up much room. You just put it in the corner. Here's the fun little drawers on the side. So it doesn't open up. It doesn't fold out like most of them do. Here are the fun drawers on each side with all your probably under things, and then you go on down to each different bigger thing like your blouses and skirts, and then your hats in a nice big deep one here, and then specially made hangers for coats, long dresses, each very specific, and then you even had your basket for dirty clothes. Each one will have all the wardrobe that I'm working on is the perfect traveling wardrobe that represents that decade for the young working gal. Stylish, absolutely stylish. The gal coming in with her the porter bringing in her steamer trunk, and her coming in with her bags and her hat and her hat box and her little travel bag, and then opening up and see what she was going to wear for the event, whatever it would be, and go through a whole scene of her changing and showing what she would wear to go to the beach, like in the 1920s, or to go off skiing in the 1940s, what they wore, or possibly to run off and play tennis in the 1970s. Very, very different outfits for sportswear. If that was shown as a piece for anyone open to the public, but theater students, it could help them actually understand costuming if they're interested in that part, and character development, because each different decade there's actually a posture in the way that you carry yourself because of the clothes that we wore. For instance, in the 1920s, they had their cloche hats, and they were worn very low, so that you had to, in order to be able to see, they were pulled way down like this, and so the posture was very, very different. Whereas your big hats like this later on in the 50s and 60s, you held your head differently. And it would actually be a teaching tool in that regard. It really could go anywhere, into like maybe a library situation where they always went programs for the library, or different theater groups, historic hotels would be another one. It can go into an actual performance piece where we can have an online museum exhibit, and so people can actually see it online, see what, and make that a presentation piece of art, basically. After my son died suddenly and unexpectedly, I didn't think I had it in me to finish or do anything. And so I thought that I was just going to shut down my studio, my shop, and basically give everything away, and just so I originally thought what I was going to do in that moment is, because you were in town, I found out that you were here from New York, that I wanted to just document what I had. So when I asked you to come on over for that week, I thought what I was going to do is just have get you in all the different outfits, decide what I was going to have for each different decade, and then pack that all away and just step away from it for a while, and maybe that was going to be it. I just didn't think I had it in me to do anything. And then as we were talking, I was trying to figure out what to do with everything, and I said I had thought about having an online store, and it was because of you that you said, well, we could totally do that. We could totally do that. And it was like, what? And all of a sudden you were asking me, well, what do you want the name of the store? And I said, well, my exhibit is Flappers to Fringe. And you launched and said, Flappers to Fringe Vintage. I love it. So I went from total despair and the dismantling of a decades-long project to launching into this new project in a week, and totally uplifting, and it's just a wonderful way to come together and actually see that this could be come to fruition in a way that I really didn't expect, and even just that, to think that I can, after all these years, can actually finish this and have fun doing it, and maybe have it be interesting and fun for other people.
What are you most proud of yourself for doing?
Wow. I'm not sure about that one. It's been a challenge to just get up every day and push on. But it's been it's been wonderful. It's been joyful. It's been so much fun to be able to get over here and then and just see where this goes. And it's it wouldn't be the same without you. It's been an absolute joy. I'm seeing that as I am posting things online just right now with friends on Facebook, that everybody's having fun with this project and kind of rooting for me. And my daughter and my son would be, they're very happy for me. When I called my daughter and told her about what I was doing, and she's been hearing me talk about this for years, and she's been with me when I've collected different things, and so when I said, well, what do you think? And she goes, well, Mom, I think it's about darn time. What do I want to be remembered for? Well, I'd love to think that I was an inspiration to people around me, and I think as far as memory-wise, if I just brought moments of joy to people. I think about that with my son. Everybody who talks about him, he was wonderful and loving and funny, and wanted people just to be the best that they could be, and wanted to help them to be able to do that. And that's a pretty great legacy. I'll aspire to that. I'm very grateful to my husband and my daughter and my grandkids, who all bring me so much joy at this point and at all times. I'm grateful that I have my health, which is a big thing, and I know that sounds so dumb, but it is true, and that I've reached this age and I still have, everything works and I still have all my original parts, which is amazing, and that I can do things where I have lots of different friends who are unable to do things at this point, and I can, and so I do, and so I like to just go for it. You well know that it's frustrating me like crazy when I'm photographing you and we're doing the styling, for me not to be able to go over and zhuzh you and fix you and help is terrible. Our ordinary way that we deal with each other by hugs and the close as we are, that also is a very strange reality that we are in. We're extra careful about everything that we do and need to be and are mindful of that, and so that has been rather strange. In this very moment, I'm very, very grateful that you are here, that this ridiculous time, not ridiculous, sad and terrible time that we are in right now, that it brought you back home for an extended stay, because you've heard me talk about this project for years, and now working on it together has been very joyful, and I know that it's going to enable me to finish the project in a bigger way than I ever thought, as I mentioned, and by golly, we're having fun doing it, so that's pretty amazing. And just fun stuff.